Thank you, Mr. Lang. Regarding lifting the moratorium, I'm not in favor of doing that now either. To me, with all the work that's gone in, all that the law director has done at this point, all that staff has done in accumulating the information with regards to revised code and whatnot, I think it'd be foolish and irresponsible for us to just chuck that out the window at this point and to, write on some napkin someplace that we've got these conditions and we're going to go forth. Like Mr. Lang said, I'll be prepared at the next meeting to make a decision about that. The thing is, as Mr. Warnerberg said, because of the Americans with Disability Act, we have to treat these pretty much the same. So what we want to do when we craft the text in this zoning resolution is to differentiate without discriminating. And I leave that up to the very capable law director, Don Crane, and staff to do that, because that sounds like a big challenge to me. But it's not unreasonable that folks would want some kind of condition on a place like this. A certain distance from daycares and churches and parks and whatnot. It was mentioned about schools and things like that. To me, the schools being 3 schools being 1.5 miles away, I mean, they're outside the zone. I mean, the folks that are right next door, adjacent to, are the people who would be the most affected. I personally don't feel any guilt or responsibility for Dr. Aziz purchasing this property without going through and doing the due diligence and the homework that you need to do before you buy a piece of property when a zone change is required. Okay, I mean, any developer will tell you that that's Tom mentioned that's what he did with something in Deerfield Township. I will also say, one second, I called cities around here. I called Indianapolis, I called Cincinnati, I called the city of Hamilton, I called Middletown. Every one of them have conditions. Nobody just lets these people go in B1 or B2 or just wherever. Here's what they said in Hamilton. In mid-2014, the city of Hamilton amended the zoning code and made alcohol and drug treatment centers, inpatient and outpatient uses, conditional uses in both the I-1 and I-2 industrial districts. We created the following definitions and added them to the zoning code as well. And they did all that kind of stuff. But that's just an indication of what they're doing. This is a relatively new problem. I've heard some people say that the medical industry is the ones who are responsible for creating this problem because they're the ones who are prescribing with such zeal all of these pain relievers. What is it, Vicodin, Percocet, to mention through, they're all opiates. And for those people that have, an addictive personality, or let's say have a metabolism or a physiology that is going to be possibly become addicted, they can become addicted. It might not happen to 98% of us. You get through the deal and whatever. But if a doctor is very willing to keep on prescribing to you pain medicine, you build up a tolerance. As you build up a tolerance, you need more and more and more. And by the time you get off of it, guess what? You're not off of it. That's all you're thinking about. So today,
it's a great business model.
It's a great business model, right? Get them through. I own a hair salon. We want women chemically dependent. So the next meeting, I plan on making a decision about this. And in Austin, when he was up there sharing what legal counsel had done, this is just to reiterate pretty much what I said. Though the distinction about the clarity and specificity of the current language of the zoning resolution in reference to these types of uses and the distinguishing similarities and differences of these types of uses as compared to hospitals, medical centers, high-volume treatment centers, or similar uses was brought to light with a proposed use, which at the time of the moratorium had not applied for a zoning certificate, a professional psychiatric service entity repurposing Westchester Nursing and Rehabilitation Center on US Route 42. As Westchester progresses on this matter, what other communities do to regulate these uses can be considered, but more importantly, the trustees need to determine what is right for our community. Other communities currently regulating the subject type uses may not have researched and evaluated to the depth to which Westchester did. And I am absolutely certain that our staff and legal counsel will research and give us the best possible text for the zoning so that we can differentiate without discriminating. Lee, you had something?
Yeah, earlier you mentioned